Hey everyone, welcome to another Outdoor Intrigue video. We're here on the beautiful west coast of Scotland, bringing you another gear review. It's been snowing lightly, it's pretty chilly even though it's early spring. And what I wanted to talk to you about today is the Hoka One One Speedgoat 4. Now these are shoes that I've had for quite a while now. I'm actually onto my second pair. These are the ones I'm holding in my hand, my second ones. And I've personally found them to be a brilliant option. I'm going to tell you some of the good things, some of the bad things, and then you can go away, make up your mind, see if there might be something that you'd like to use or try out. So let's start off with the uppers of these shoes. Really simplistic design, very well designed for the amount of wear they can take. So on my previous pair, I'd done over 600 kilometers in them, and the uppers are still holding together. I mean, the only reason I don't use those ones anymore is because of the wear on the tread itself. The actual uppers have held together amazingly. This pair I've had for just over a month, and I've been using them for trail running, not hiking. And I've done 355, just checked Strava, done 355 kilometers in them. And they are, again, holding up really well. You know, there's some slight signs of wear on some of the crease points near the toe box, but no issues whatsoever. They've got plenty of life left in them. So they can take a beating when you're running on the trails, no problem there. They've designed them well, used a strong, solid material. They've got a reasonable amount of splash proofness. You know, it's not even water resistant because these aren't the Gore-Tex versions. They're not designed for that. But if you run through a puddle really quickly at first, you might not instantly get wet. Once they do wet out, if you're running in really wet conditions, then they do drain out well and they dry quickly. They don't hold on to a lot of moisture, I found. So that's a real positive as well when you're using them running in the wet, which I've done often. So that's quality. What I like also is a simplistic lacing system. Different brands use different kinds of lacing systems. This is not anything special, it's just a traditional lacing system, but you can get a good lockdown, and it's not difficult to use the laces to open it up wide, get your swollen foot in if it's a second day of running or anything like that. And then when you pull them tight, you can easily create a decent lockdown, no issue whatsoever. So yeah, no real major revolutionary aspect on the uppers, but what they've done works well. I find that the heel grips well. It's not as tight and sock-like as some other shoes that I run in, like the La Sportivas and things like that, but I don't find it loose or baggy. I like that what they do offer is, on their sizing options, they offer a standard fit or a wide fit. This is the EE or the wide fit. I've got a slightly wider foot, so I really appreciate where brands either offer a wider foot or naturally run slightly wide. That's going to be dependent to you, so whether you want to go for the wide or the traditional, the more narrow fit. These are, I think, true to size from my perspective. I normally wear a 9.5 in most brands, and this is a 9.5, and I found them to be absolutely fine. I usually wear Intrigue liner sock and then a heavier trail running sock on the outside of that, and they accommodate that perfectly, no issue whatsoever. Not a problem at all on sizing. And I find that the toe box has got a good amount of room. As I say, these are the wide version, but even with the narrow version, I imagine the layout's going to be fairly similar. It's not too narrow a toe box, which is appreciated, particularly on those longer runs where your feet start to swell up and you can feel that you need that little bit of splay and room. Not much else to talk to you about on the upper. They do a few different colorways. I went with in this particular one just because they were the cheapest ones. This color happened to be there. I don't mind it. The previous ones I had were like black and gray, so they got a more muted option too. You know, different strokes for different folks, whatever you like. Moving on to the all-important aspect of this shoe, which is this sole, this nice cushiony soft sole, and that really is the main selling point. Whether you're a trail runner or a hiker, you're going to appreciate it just as much. This sole is made of really nice, soft, spongy foam. It does have a moderate amount of energy return. You can feel it when you're running. It's not too bad. It's got like a moderate, for the amount of cushioning you get, it does give you a little bit of spring back. Not a huge amount though. But the main thing is it soaks up a lot of the pain and pressure that you'd be taking over long miles or kilometers out on the trails and in the hills. And you really feel it come into its own when you've been using it on a long day. I would say if you're going to be running a 50k or anything like that, these are absolutely brilliant. Or if you're hiking multiple days or through hiking on trails, a lot of through hikers swear by these trail runners, and I can tell you that it's not just hype, they are absolutely brilliant for that. You can feel the comparison when you're using a different, either a hiking boot or a trail runner that's more minimalist and got a lighter, less pronounced tread and sole to it, you often will feel after the day of hiking or running the amount that your feet have really taken a beating and a pounding, whereas these really help and take a lot of the stress and strain out of that. It's super impressive. Honestly, until you've tried it, it's hard to believe, and I haven't found anything else comparable yet to it. There are some other shoes coming out onto the market that are definitely taking into account how much of a benefit this is, and I know that Innovate are releasing some new ones that are apparently quite squidgy too, so we'll see how those are. Other positives on this foamy sole is that it uses a Vibram Mega Grip, which is brilliant compound. It grips well on pretty much everything apart from wet grass and mud. So if you're running or hiking on trails, rocky terrain, dry ground, up in the mountains, no issue. Brilliant, they work great. Obviously for hill and fell running, which I do quite a bit of, you're going to want to choose something different. You know, if you're going down an open piece of wet hillside, the wide heel on this, even with a relatively aggressive lug depth, so it's got a 5mm lug, is just going to start sliding. But everything else, fine, eats it up, no problem at all. They are also, for a shoe that's reasonably heavy, so they come in about 310 grams shoe for this size, for a 9.5. For a shoe that's reasonably heavy, they're pretty nimble. I've never had an issue, even when you're running on technical ground up high. So I've used these in the mountains quite a lot, and it's just not an issue. Like, you know, technical descents, coming down quick on rocky ground, foot placement, everything else, they don't feel big and chunky. They do when you pick them up, when you first order a pair and you're like, wow, that's quite a chunk. But actually, surprisingly, on your feet, they don't. They feel pretty nimble. On hiking routes, these are brilliant. I mean, the previous pair that I had, I've put over 600 kilometers on. They're pretty dead now just because the tread's just worn like almost flat after that much use. But for hikers, I feel like this is a great option. If you're someone who's not used to using trail runners and you're thinking about converting, or you're someone who already does hike in trail running shoes, these are, no joke, one of the best options you can go for. They're really versatile. They are super comfortable, and I just feel like the amount of comfort that they give you over long mileage and long hikes, like through hikes and things like that. Are you going to, obviously, if you do any research into this, come up with a lot of articles from through hikers that are using these regularly, and not just in the States. I think in the UK too, you can get away with using something like this. Obviously, you know, if you want a waterproof aspect, then yeah, you're going to need a Gore-Tex sock. Look at my other videos. I'll talk to you about how to keep your feet dry. But that pretty much wraps it up, to be honest with you. I'd just go over the main points again. Great grippy sole, good on almost all terrain, nice and reasonably aggressive lug depth, which is positive, so you're going to get good tread and good traction on most things. Main benefit, sucks up a lot of the beating that your feet would otherwise be taking from the trail, which is hugely positive. If you're running an ultramarathon or a 50k plus, you're going to really enjoy the kind of benefits this gives you. Simple upper, no thrills or spills, but it works, and they work and take a lot of wear. You can easily expect 500k out of a pair before you're having to replace them, I would suggest, which I think is positive and means you're getting your money's worth. On the money side, you can pick these up for somewhere between 100 and 135 pounds UK, generally speaking, depending on the colorway. And yeah, you can have to search it out on Google, you'll figure it out. But that's it. I just wanted to talk to you about something that I thought was a brilliant trail runner and a great option for many of you out there. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Happy to answer, because I've been using these a lot now. And if you guys enjoyed the video, then why not subscribe to us and check us out on Instagram @OutdoorIntrigue. Also, if you want to know when one of our new videos is coming out, hit the little bell icon and you'll get a reminder. Otherwise, take care everyone, and it's been a joy as always. See you later.